this is going to be our last lesson on Unit 8, Day 4. So Day 5 is just word problems with this, and you've seen a few word problems on your homework assignments, but we're going to just leave that off for the semester, just to save us a little bit of time. So last day on sequences and series, and today we're going to focus on just geometric sequences and series. Remember, series means sums. Geometric means you have that ratio, so the ratio is what you're multiplying by to get from term to term. And when we're looking at our formula sheets, they do have the geometric section. This is the sequence formula that we've already looked at, and then we'll be taking a look at our sum formulas later on in the lesson. So to start off, right here, explicit formula, so that is the formula that is on your formula sheet. So for the first one, we want to find the explicit formula for the geometric sequence. So just like with the last day where they told you the arithmetic, they have to tell you if it's geometric or arithmetic. And then we want to find the 10th term. Okay, so our a sub 1 is 6, and our a sub 9 is 3 over 128. Okay, so just like we did with arithmetic, we're going to always find our common ratio first. So we're going to find r first. And then after we find r, then we'll go from there. So to find r, it's a little bit different. So what you're going to do is you're going to take, and I normally, just like I did with common difference, I normally take this last number first. So we're going to do the 3 over 128. You're going to set it equal to, and then you're going to use your other number 6. Okay, I'll explain why in a second. Then you're going to have your r for ratio, and the exponent of your ratio, you're going to do your 9 minus 1. Okay, so guys, remember for ratio, that means what you're multiplying by. So these have to be proportionate to each other. So if you were to do 3 over 128 divided by 6, that will give you what you're multiplying by. And then it's not just the ratio between one number, it's between however, like this is 9 minus 1, that's why you have to give that your exponent. So the setup's a little more complicated, just a little bit different, but I always take this number equals this number and then 9 minus 1. And once again, it really doesn't matter the order. I just like to keep this r positive, the exponent, so I try to do that one first. So if we want to solve this, this will be 3 over 128 equals 6r to the 8th power. And then you can definitely use your calculator. I'm going to divide both sides by 6. So if you divide by 6, you'll get 1 over 256 equals r to the 8th. Let me bring up my calculator in case you have yours. So I just did 3 over 128 divided by 6, change it to a fraction. So 1 over 256. And then if this was r squared, you would take a cube root. So we need to take the 8th root. So to take the 8th root on your calculator, if you go to math, and then go to number 5, it'll let you type in whatever root you want to do. And then we're doing 1 over 256. So our r value is 0.5 or 1/2. So what we're multiplying by each time, that ratio is 1/2. Okay, so we are using the explicit formula. So you're going to use the formula on your formula sheet, or it's right there at the top of the screen. So we're going to be using a sub n equals a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1. So let's just fill in what we have. So we know a sub n is what we're trying to, we want to leave that for our equation. A sub 1, well, they gave us that. They gave us that 6. So we're going to plug in 6. We know the ratio is 1/2. We just figured that out. And we want to keep the n minus 1. So this would be your explicit formula there. It also asks you to find the 10th term. So because we have explicit, we can just plug in 10. So you can use your calculator for that, but you get 3 over 256. Alright, very similar in the steps that you're going to do as it was with day 3 in arithmetic. It's just to find the ratios a little bit different, and then you have a different explicit formula that you're going to use. So taking a look at the second one. So we're still working with geometric on the second one, and they tell you 2 of your terms. So this time they give us a sub 5 is 4, and a sub 8 is negative 32. We want to write the explicit and then find the 10th term. So I always find the ratio first. So to set up the ratio, I'm going to take my negative 32 is equal to this 4. And that's 4 times the ratio of 8 minus 5. So if I divide both sides by that 4, so negative 32 divided by 4, that'll give me negative 8 equals r to the 3rd power. And then hopefully you don't need your calculator for this, but you're going to take the cube root of both sides. So we'll have r is going to be negative 2 there. So our ratio is going to be negative 2. So then our goal is to make an explicit formula. So we have our ratio now. So our goal was to make an explicit. So we know for geometric sequence, the explicit formula is our a sub n equals a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1. So we can just kind of fill in what we have. We want to keep a sub n. We do not know a sub 1, so I'll have to figure out that. We do know the ratio is negative 2, and that'll be to the n minus 1. So we still need this a sub 1. So we're going to have to use the explicit to figure that out. So the explicit formula, and you can use either point that you want to use. I normally just typically use the top or the first one. So we know that a sub 5 is 4. We don't know a sub 1. We know the ratio is negative 2. Because it was a sub 5, it's going to be 5 minus 1. So simplify this out, we'll have a sub 1. This will be negative 2 to the 4th power, which will be 16. So a sub 1 is going to be 4 over 16, or 1/4. So this a sub 1 here is going to be 1/4. So now that we have that explicit formula, they want us to find the 10th term. So because we have explicit, we can just plug in 10 for n. And if you use your calculator to figure that out, you should get negative 128.
Could you try again?
That's my watch going off. Sorry about that. But you should get a sub 10 equals negative 128. Alright, so we're going to switch gears a little bit. So looking at the recursive formula. So recursive, remember, is not on your formula sheet, and it depends on the previous term. So I wrote it a little different on this one. So it says a sub n plus 1 equals a sub n. You can definitely rewrite that as a sub n equals a sub n minus 1 times r. That means the same thing if you're more comfortable with that. But I want you to just be able to see both of them. And just like with all recursive, you always have to write the first term to go with that because it has to have a term to depend on. So for number 3, they want us to find the recursive formula for this geometric sequence. So they're going to give us a sub 5, and they give us a sub 10. Okay, so just like with the rest of them, if they give you two terms like this, you want to go ahead and find your ratio first. So I'm going to take the second number, set it equal to this first number, times r, and it's going to be r to the 10 minus 5 power. So if you divide both sides by 512, you'll get negative 1024 equals r to the 5th power. And then using your calculator, of course, if you take the 5th root, you will get the ratio is negative 4. Okay. So guys, remember, the ratio means you are multiplying every term by that negative 4. So we can actually go ahead and write our recursive. We know a sub n equals the previous term, which would be a sub n minus 1 times negative 4. But remember, anytime you write the recursive, you have to write the first term with it. Well, we do not know the first term. So in order to get this, we're going to have to use the explicit formula for geometric so we can figure out what this first term is going to be. So I'm just going to use the first one like I normally do. We know a sub n is 512. We do not know a sub 1. The ratio we know is negative 4. And the n value on that one is 5. So we'll have 512 equals a sub 1 times 256. So if we divide 512 by 256, that'll give us a sub 1 is 2. So my first term is 2, and so the recursive formula says you take the first term or the previous term, you're going to multiply everything times that negative 4. So that's how you would write your recursive formula.